Hi.
I'm loving the Christmas tree behind you. I'm actually blown away. I feel like you Americans do Christmas just wow.
It's unbelievable. If I could show you my house right now. I mean, here, just let me show you what's next to me.
Are you like, is it the outside lights and oh my God.
We're not done yet.
What is that?
Candle. Yeah, so it's unbelievable.
Is it like, so when I'm watching like the Christmas movies, the American Christmas movies, and they've got all of the big Santas on the lawn and things like that, like is this like a thing?
Yes, but not like tacky. I mean, tacky in like an old like a 90s movie, like a 90s rom-com Christmas
Home Alone
movie.
vibes.
Yes, very much that. Now, the same way Halloween has gotten like so extreme, where it's like people are having these like deathly blood sucking things jumping out of their, no, it's for real, of their yards. And it's like so gruesome and gory and like satanic. The same way Christmas can be also like so overdone and extravagant, but like not in a cute way. I think we still do it cute.
Okay. I love that though. And I mean, I had this thought the other day because I've not been home for 2 years now. And the last Christmas we went to see, I nearly said view Ben's family then. See Ben's family, and they don't really celebrate. And I feel like I've just kind of like lost the spark of Christmas. So I'm gonna have to go home next year because
Well, I
I've just
lost it too. Like being gone for so long, I lost it and I didn't really care about it. But being back around it, I can appreciate it. And also knowing this year, like all my family's coming, Tim's coming from Switzerland. It's going to be like such like a 90s Christmas rom-com.
it
That's going to be
really
my
will.
life.
So he's not with you yet. He's coming later.
No, he comes
Right.
next week today.
Oh, it's gonna be so special.
And it's funny because my mom's a generator and a sacral generator. And the level of excitement that she has about decorating and doing all of the things. And it's so just like pure and I love it. And so I'm like, of course I will help decorate and get things ready. But I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's been weeks. She's been working at this for weeks. She plays hooky from work, like cancels calls, blocks her calendar so she can just do stuff for the house.
But also like, and I mean, we've spoke about this with the sacral energy. When you're around a sacral that's drained and like miserable, it's not a nice feeling versus when you're around a sacral who's so lit up by like what they're doing. It's a different, so it's nice for you. You're getting energy from
Yeah.
her
Well, this is what's
excitement.
so interesting. And it's funny because my mom's in the other room, but she won't know anything about what I'm saying. She's a 4-6 and 6 line, right? And she's just in her early 60s. So has just kind of made that transition to the third phase of actually embodying and living as that role model, right? But my mom's always been like a boss babe. She has worked in corporate since she was out of university in like medical sales and was one of like the first women back in the 90s who was like part of the boys gang, work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
Growing up, the unfortunate part of that is like work became so all encompassing and so stressful to also have 3 kids 1 year apart and to be still maintaining that like high level of work expectation. And it was a struggle. And like what I always saw was just, I remember my mom working all the time, going on business trips all the time, which like took away from my experience with her, even though she was an incredible mother. But what I've noticed since I and my brother have started taking the path that we have taken and, quitting jobs and talking about saying no and setting boundaries and being like, we don't do shit that we don't want to do. It's as if these gears just started turning in the back of her head. And over the last few years, she just started getting that, like, as someone who was a people pleaser, always said yes, always wanted to like make sure everybody else was having a great time, just starting to exercise that muscle. And it's funny now in her early 60s, more successful than she's ever been, making more money than she's ever been, giving zero fucks about work. She doesn't care if she pisses people off. She'll miss meetings now and then and like just like is like, well, I'm just going to keep going until they fire me because like why not? I mean, I can still do all the things I want to do. And it's just funny to see just like finally that freedom and ease and like there's so much more sacral energy, there's so much more passion, there's so much excitement. Like the woman's swims in the morning, bikes to the swimming pool, comes home, walks the dog, works, does all these things. And I'm like, this is amazing. And this is what's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it just shows also like, and the sixes especially, you live so many lifetimes. I keep zooming out and having this thought, like, I'm definitely in a friction period right now where I'm being called into like, I can just tell something needs to shift. And like, it happens all the time, you know? It's just layers and layers and layers, but I can feel it and it's coming through almost like as a depression because it's the entropy piece of like, we're going to put you in the void and you're not going to know where you're going. But you also need to make some decisions that you haven't made before. And it's like, it's scary, but also we live multiple lifetimes. And sometimes what brings me a lot of peace is zooming out and being like, oh my God, in like 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, life is going to look so much different. And whether whether I do anything or not, I'm going to evolve and things are going to shift. And life is going to also just like bring me the opportunities that I need to be able to evolve, whether that be, we start a family or there's this or there's that. It's different rockets of desire always going out. And your life will change whether you like it or not. And you will evolve whether you like it or not. You can be like a passive player there, or you can be active and willing to go where the tide's taking you. But you live
Yeah.
multiple lifetimes. Like, you don't know where you're going to be.
Yeah. And this past year, it's been in the Chinese zodiac, the year of the snake. And I mean,
Dude.
every human that I have worked with, everyone I've spoken to, myself included, it's been shedding, transformation, like letting go of identities, ways of doing things, patterns, and shedding is not comfortable. There is nothing like sexy about that process, but the snake doesn't like run away from the shedding. It has no option. There's no reality in which it can continue in the skin that it's living in. And I think we're all being so called to shed, and it's uncomfortable and it shows up as friction, but it's making space because this next year is the year of the horse. So the horse being about momentum, speed, like strength, forward movement, but we only get there if we make space for it. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I've also been having to look at the last few weeks, and it's been amazing the time that I spent in Switzerland because I had this projector in front of me and I could not hide from myself. I've spoken so much, like, especially on the last podcast with Leia, about how incredible it is to be in a relationship with a projector and to feel so seen. But there's also like the difficult part of that where it's like you cannot hide. And I haven't been triggered in any aspect of my life in so long. Like I've been so non-reactive for so long, but there's something about like not being able to escape that mirror and not even having time. It's like it's right in front of you. And so it's like I've had to sit with like, shit, there are things that I have been avoiding. There are things where I have just been numbing myself. I've really had to look at my relationship with social media and with work and realize like, and again, we've done podcasts, we've talked about this topic of like the dopamine hit and being online and how it takes us away, but like I don't think any of us are being honest with ourselves about how deep those devices have their claws dug into us. And the way that I knew I was still fucked in my relationship with it was because my partner was calling it out and I was getting so triggered and defensive, being like, but it's my business, but I have to be like online, I have to be sharing. And that is not like, that is not the energy I want to put into my work, but also like, why am I getting so reactive? And it's because a part of me knows like, I'm not doing fuck all when I'm going and checking every 30 minutes. Or I would notice like, okay, I'm writing an email newsletter and I notice my internet goes out for a moment or something happens and I'm waiting just for a few seconds. Immediately, what do? Pick up my phone.
I know.
And just being like, I'm consuming. I'm not creating anymore like I used to. And then I have this whole like friction around, I don't feel creative. I don't feel inspired because I have no space to be inspired because I'm taking in all this information, then creating more stories about how like I'm just so worn out by this space and there's so much noise and everyone's creating with ChatGPT and like it's all the same recycled stuff. The only reason I feel fatigued and stuck is because I'm looking at all of that. But what I did is I just turned my screen like stuff off. So like I cannot go on Instagram except for 1 hour like 2 days a week. And I've told myself like I can only go on if I'm creating something. And like if I'm not putting something out there, then I'm not going on. And even just doing that for 1 week, I had so many like ideas. I had so many ahas, and I didn't have resistance around sharing it because I wasn't consuming so much
Mm.
from around me where I was like, oh, like, who's going to care to listen to this? Or like, what value does this have to share? I was like, oh no, this is just a personal journal and I'm going to put stuff out there because I don't give a fuck.
Oh, you're so, so right. And I've had this exact same conversation with Ben, and I had this at home when I was with my mom. She was like, Bethany, you're always on your phone. And I was like, well, you don't understand. But actually, no, she's right. Like, I'm not going on there just to post. And I had this conversation with Ben too of the dopamine element, because I find that when Ben's home, I'm not on the phone as much, right? I'll still be on it, but like not half as much, especially at night. When he's not home and I'm alone a lot, I'm picking my phone up first thing in the morning. I'm just like last night, I think I said I was going to watch a movie. I just ended up on my phone all night, and I can't tell you what I was doing. And it's like, it's this dopamine connection hit. Like it's literally oxytocin. And it's like, and then I'm like, oh, I have no hobbies. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And
And
I'll
you want to know
refuse.
why I think it's want to know why I think it's even harder for entrepreneurs or like people who have their own business is not only is it just like a dopamine hit of you see likes, you see messages, you see this. For us, we see money come in. How much more tangled does that become? Because sometimes those notifications, those messages are also tied to like dollar signs. And so it's just like we're being so entrained to have our attention pulled away. And then we wonder why we feel stuck, why we're feeling friction. And this applies to anyone. You don't have to have a business online. The funniest thing is, since being home, I have started rereading my old journals, and I have them going back to the very first journal I ever started writing in, which was in 2018. And it's wild to see like how quickly I like evolved and how self-aware I was even then. Like I would have times where I was like, I had this big reflection, whatever, but I just feel I'm being pulled into my phone and I'm kind of distracting myself and I know it's not good for me. And it's funny to see like, oh, I was still even experiencing it back then before I ever had any sort of business relationship with social media or anything like that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it also worries me a little of like what the future, because the phones are literally a part of us, you know? But then also there's this, because I still get it, and I'm sure you get it too. I love my business. I love everything about it. But I also sometimes have these feelings of like, my God, wouldn't it be nice to just throw it all in the bin and step away and just like not be on my phone, to just be a mom, be at home, and like not have to use my phone for business. And like that's sad, because like I know I don't want to feel that way. And it's not my business, it's not the people I work with. It's genuinely just the sheer addiction, you know, and
Yeah.
like the having to
Yeah.
be on the phone, on the screens. Like I get angry with Ben sometimes on the phone when he rings me at night, because I've been on the laptop all day. I've been on my phone all day, and the last thing I want to do is actually be on the phone, and I don't want to call my friends and family because I'm on the phone all the time. But then I'm like, oh, I feel so disconnected to my friends and family.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say to that is I think the same way like phones have the potential to just be a neutral object and it's the relationship we have with them. And if we have the strength and the resilience to break the dependency and the addiction, it doesn't hold the power over us any longer. And so long as we keep giving ourselves excuses, it will always be this like heaviness over us. But
Yeah.
I will say, like, this realization that I had, and I just woke up one morning and I was like, I am not doing this and I'm not letting this thing control me. And just having one day of being like, wait a minute, I'm not going to touch Instagram, for example, because that's where for me, I spend most of my time. I'm not really on the other apps. WhatsApp messages and things are kind of easy, especially I find if I can have it on my computer, it's different than like going down to the phone all the time. Just giving myself like the hardest of going cold turkey as if I'm an addict and being like, you cannot go on that at least for these few days. And then after that, you're only allowed on to create. It gave me this like extreme wave of confidence and excitement and almost just this like badass feeling of like, wait, I'm in control. I'm in control. I'm not out of control and I'm not a slave to this thing. And all these stories I'm telling myself, my business is going to do this and da da da. None of it fucking matters. And at the same time, I'm like, it's very scary for the world and for everyone who doesn't have the awareness of this. But at least I can do my best to try to empower and educate people and get them to question the relationships that they have and just remember. And it's like even ancient Buddhists have, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and in some of the old, like Buddhist practices, they say that your literal like soul and your access to your soul is your awareness and your attention. So if your attention is not within your grasp, you don't have access to your soul.
Yeah, totally. I fully agree because I see the difference when I'm like I take space versus when I'm always on. Because and I mean, even from a human design standpoint, right? And this, I think this works for like you, for example, with the definition and me with not. Yeah, with the open head, all you have to do is go on social media and there's all the, I mean, I'm looking right now at investing in like a higher level mentor, like, big investment. And I can feel my head and I can feel like that conditioning of like, well, is it this or is it that person or is it that person? Oh, like what if it, and then I'm comparing myself and then I'm getting upset with myself of like, I'm like, this should be an investment I'm excited in. Now I feel overwhelmed and stressed because there's just so much that you're absorbing. Whereas for you, I guess it's also like you're seeing it and then you internalize that pressure of like, must figure out this thing. So many of us are having that, but we're also not having the awareness that it's happening. At least we have the awareness to go, the conditioning started.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It just all goes back to like your mechanics and think about it. If we don't have, because our attention is energy. And what I noticed is just the few days of kind of taking my attention back, I had so much more time, so much more energy, so much possibility that I was able to spend my day doing or just taking care of myself. Because what else did I notice? As a projector, resting, I would be like, okay, I'm going to take some time off my laptop, but I'll go lie down and just do things, respond to messages, like create content, which sometimes led to just like wasting time online. That is not resting. So then I wonder why my energy feels low, or I'm not sleeping well, or I wonder why I don't feel like I'm getting the invitations that I was used to getting. I'm not making any space for it. The generators, you're waiting to respond, but you're clogging all of your time in, like, again, the little micro moments that we take to these phones, they add up. Every micro moment adds up and it adds up and it adds up, when instead you could be banking all of that and pouring it into something that feels expansive, something that feels restful, something that feels more aligned with your strategy and authority, with your mechanics.
Yeah, totally. 100%. Yeah, it's awareness.
Yeah. But now, can we switch gears like 180 degrees? Because I haven't spoken to you in real life since, oh my God, let me see the ring. I mean, I've seen it, but
I
like,
get it.
wow. And so, for everyone listening, if you listened to our podcast episode a few weeks ago with Brooklyn, actually, it was a few months ago at this point, with Brooklyn, who is a generator and an amazing jewelry designer, she created that masterpiece that is literally like the most you wedding
I know.
ring that has ever existed. Created it with your partner. And like, how are you feeling now? Like, how's the come down been?
So, yeah, I mean, it's been unfortunate really because I just found out I have another parasite, which is fucking brilliant. And I
Ollie
spent so
things.
long getting rid of that. I know. But what was quite interesting was I had like a week of being in like the bubble of it all, and then I had a massive hormonal crash where my energy just like tanked the day before I went home. So it was a little bit sad really, because not that it really changed things at all, but my body went into like recovery mode, and so it took away a little bit from that because Ben came home and then we got burgled, so like there was a lot going on with my nervous system, and it definitely was like, how can you hold both? But I feel like I almost like wasn't able to ride the wave fully because I went straight into this kind of like health and
Yeah, yeah,
dealing
yeah.
feeling quite fearful at night, which is still happening. Like I'm not sleeping well and the noises and stuff like that. But also like it just feels like I catch myself just looking at the ring and just being like, wow, I don't know. It's hard to articulate because I think obviously like me and we planned it. So when we've been speaking about it for a while, it's been a couple of years where I said to Ben a while ago when we were talking about moving, I was like, you know, if we're moving, one of my desires is that we're engaged by the time we like move and like we make this next step. Not pressuring, but like it's a desire of mine. I want that with you. That I'm just going to state my desire. And then he obviously got to work. And the other thing that I said was, I'd love for Brooklyn to make it because ultimately she's a friend. It's more special that way, support smaller businesses, the whole thing. And yeah, like he
And she
showed me
knows you so well.
yeah, you know, it's just a very different it's just different and it's so special and like seeing her response and she'd been posting on TikTok and I had no idea, you know, like little things like that. And he showed me a few of the messages and it's been a year where they've been texting and sorting and like this wasn't something Ben was able to do just super easy either. Like it's something he chose to prioritize. And so yeah, I actually looked in his chart the other day. I was like, has this guy got the struggle channel? Because like he sure does struggle. Like he sure does put himself in those scenarios, you know? I think he does. Like he's got something in there where like he has to
Yeah.
work through. But not to say he put himself under struggle, but he definitely put himself in a like he stretched to be able to do that for me and that became priority. And just even to not in a kind of like, you know, masochist way, but even that, like seeing that he put so much into that and he prioritized that investment into like making that promise to me has just been beautiful. And even the way that it was all set up. And even there's a shift that happens too, like even this investment I want to be making soon. Recently, we're having a conversation about it, and he's like, well, we can do that on this day. And, you know, it's like everything has become, it's already been that way, but there's just this shift now of like, it's our investment, it's our resources, and it's so special. Like, it's,
I was about to say, I have like goosebumps thinking about that because I think the path that we've chosen, and many of our listeners probably have as well, like they've been very independent paths.
mhm,
And we've gone on to create these lifestyles so founded on freedom and independence and travel and all of these things. But it leads us to doing so much in isolation and
yeah,
feeling very alone in it. And there's nothing more nourishing, I think, for our nervous systems than just being with someone, whether it's an actual partner, whether it's God, whether it's like, you know, to just be able to like carry the burden together. And it's something like I'm just learning for the first time too. And like having to remind my, well, my partner is the one reminding me all the time of like, we're doing this together and like, you're not alone.
yeah. And it's such a big, because I still even go through it where, you know, I'll have the scarcity come up sometimes where I'm like, what if it all goes away? What if it, and he's like, even if it went away, like, I am getting a promotion next month. I have my job. You know, the good thing about us is that I do have, you know, the kind of stability month to month and you are, you know, uncapped. And so it
Yeah.
works well for us. And also you're not alone. And I don't know, there's something that I know multiple people I've spoke to that are entrepreneurs have this and that are very independent. You can't just be told that, you know, when you've been on this like journey of like will succeed, will do this. And then someone comes in and like it's a very masculine energy. But then when you meet a masculine energy that wants to provide and hold for you in whichever way they're doing so, when you start to soften, like it's not easy. I think that's been one of the biggest challenges for me, like learning to soften, learning to let someone, and this isn't just providing in the sense of money, but it's in so many different ways, you know, like even the
It's
proposal.
letting go of control.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I can't tell you how hard it was for me, even though I was so excited to be told you're going to Australia and you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what the car looks like. You don't know what the Airbnbs look like. Thank God I've got a Taurian man that I know who's got great taste, who books
Bless us,
literally,
Torian.
yeah, better places than I could even fathom. Like I could literally give that guy my credit card and go have him buy clothes for me and everything, you know, like
Wow.
yeah, he's so good. But yeah, no, I had no idea at all on like what anything was going to look like. And it was absolutely perfect. But if I'd have started to micromanage, I don't want to go there, I don't want to do that, which I have done in the past. Also, like that takes away from him and what he gets out of that situation. And yeah, it was honestly just perfect. And so us,
Mm.
even to the point, and this is a control piece, even to the point where I really wanted the engagement recorded, right? Like it was a thing, you know. Ben was like, oh, for social media. And I'm like, no, it's something I want to look back on. It's something that I want to collect as like a memory. And he tried to record it when I turned around, where he was like, I was facing the sunset and he was like, stay there, stay there, stay there. And I turned around and he has the phone in one hand, like on one knee, phone in one hand, box in the other. I see this glimmer and I'm like, oh, I don't remember this. I black out. Apparently I was just mumbling like shit and like grabbing his face. And he's like, I remember him saying, are you going to let me speak? And I was like, and he put the phone down. And when we looked back at the phone later, he'd pressed stop instead of play. So we didn't get the recording. And anyway, it would have just been me like, but what was so beautiful was I did relinquish control on that. I was like, you know, it is what it is. But also, as he was proposing, two girls came over the hill behind him. And he was trying not to have everyone around because he was obviously nervous and he really doesn't like the camera on him. So I get that. But it was perfect because I didn't know they did this, but they snapped that picture of us. So we got the snapshot. I kind of got what I wanted. He also got what he wanted, which was not to be recorded or seen by other people. And it's just laughable because it was just so natural and us, and we're not the showy aesthetic couple, you know, we're the real, like my sister was laughing because she was like, there's a cooler bin next to you, there's a can of cider, he's got his hood up and you're just like it's just you know.
Yeah.
Again, it's the relinquishing of control. If I'd have been like, oh, we didn't record it straight after a man has just proposed to me. But no, it's been amazing. I just like sit and look at, and one experience I'm having, which is very strange, like I keep having it, is do you ever have those moments where you're in where you wanted to be? So like, you know, we'll use a proposal. Like I remember since I've been like 14, wanting a partner that loves me as much as I love them, gives me as much attention as I give them, the whole thing, right? So ultimately, like the proposal piece is like whoa, I'm here. Like I've got my husband. And I keep having this very surreal experience of like timelines collapsing. So, you know, when you feel like something is so far away or like you're looking forward to something, and then when you're on the plane home and you're like, that just
What
happened.
happened?
The memory is done. Like the whole experience I was looking forward to for so long, it's done. But then it also feels like all my experiences have melted into one. And you know how they say with quantum physics, it's like everything exists at the same time. It's almost
Mhm.
surreal, like, oh, but I've always been in this moment. This moment, my past self knew my future self was going to have this. And so that's why it felt so far away. And that's why it felt so achingly painful that I wasn't there, because I knew this whole time this was going to happen. And I just keep having this moment where I'm like, oh my God, it exists now. Like this is the reality now. And it's helping me project that onto the things I still feel that aching desire for, such as like, you know, the level of business I want to be at, right now, like I'm really craving community. And it's like, you want it so bad because it's existing already. And at some point, you're going to be there just like this. So it's just been so many pieces. It's not just the engagement, but it's showed me so much.
Yeah, I think it's so special to have something physical, like a ring in that case, where it's like you can look down and feel that and touch that. And it's almost can be this like a safety blanket of, right, I can, because I have. The proof is
Yeah.
in the pudding.
And God, I mean, the meeting Ben and the relationship we have, I would say that is one of my, like we all have our different mental barriers. We all have the breakthroughs. We want to have the patterns that are just prominent. For some, it's money. For some, it's relationship. For some, it's multiple. For me, I've definitely got different threads of each. But the relationship one was a big one. Like my whole life, it's been that with like just really self-sabotaging in relationships. And a lot of it was self-worth and just for the longest time blaming the man when actually there was a lot on my part. And to have broke through that and have someone, and I don't even say this, oh, I've just met my person, like to have someone like Ben, who I honestly cannot fault the guy in terms of his commitment and just the way that he is and the way that and the masculine like presence that he has. Insane. Just night and day difference to what I used to attract, right? It is complete, like if you want to call it quantum leap, like quantum leap. It's really training my mind to be like, if you can attract this, you can literally break through anything. And I know it's hard to be in the, why is it not here yet right now? But like, look how long that took you. It's like almost 20 years of attracting the wrong person to be able to like call in the right one. But now you're here and now like you'll never be there again because you've switched your brain chemistry that much with that person that even if this was not to work out forever, it would never ever take you back to like where you were before.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Mm. And now that you're engaged, right? Like there's just something, even though you've been planning it, you talked about it, all of these things, I feel like there's something tangible that also shifts to making a commitment in that way. And how has that, or how do you see that changing your relationship dynamics and like how you both are, what you're thinking about, and where you're putting your attention and energy as it relates to your relationship moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so this is a good point. Really good question. You always pull it out of me. You always do that. So we've actually, I think one of the main shifts that I've seen, and we've always talked about things as a team, like we've always been a team. But one beautiful thing about me and Ben and our dynamic, because we are very, very different people. I'm very much, and it's even in our designs, I'm probability, I'm possibility, he's probability. So when I found that out, it actually blew my mind because it really helped me understand why he is the way he is and why I am the way I am. And I've noticed I'm really starting to give him the reins with the probability, and he's also really giving me that space of like, okay, let's dream. So go dream. But also, like, what are we doing right now to be able to really solidify that dream? Because ultimately, we need a plan and we need a structure in place for that. And one conversation we've been having, and these have just been like some very mature conversations have been coming through. And I think on Ben's side, he now almost has the go to have a bit more space there because I can be quite headstrong for sure. I'm very stubborn and I don't listen to things until like 2 weeks later. And then I come through and I'm like, I've had an idea. And he's like, that was my idea 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about? But this is a conversation we had lately. So I've mentioned a few times we want to move to Australia and that is still on the cards. But one thing that Ben initiated out of me recently was because I have these in and out moments where I'm like, I hate Bali. I love Bali. I want to leave. I don't want to leave. And I think it's the open head and the wanting to respond to different things. And he's like, I don't think you hate Bali and necessarily want to leave Bali. He was like, I think you just want to have the choice to leave. And right now you don't really have the choice to leave because I work in Australia. So I come back to Bali. And I said to him, like, I think my frustration is that I've created this lifestyle and the reason I started my business was so I could live anywhere in the world. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean I want to like hop to different places every 2 weeks. I want a base, but I also want to be able to go spend 2 months in Australia, 2 months in Spain, 2 months in England, Like, that's what I want. And I don't think I've ever been very clear on that. And he was like, I want that too.
Mm,
He's like, I want that too, but right now I can't do that because, okay, I'm going to go quit my job tomorrow. Where are we getting the finances from? Because yeah, your business supports you, but it doesn't support us. So you're not in a place that can support us both right now while I go gallivanting trying to figure out what works for me. He was like, B, I have ideas. Like, and he does. He's got so many of these ideas in the works. And he was like, but I think with your possibility, you want it tomorrow. He was like, I can't start a business, make you a housewife, give you a baby, like whatever, all these things in 2 weeks, babe. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know, shoot for the stars, but like, that's just not possible. And you need to look at that. And these are the kind of conversations where he's able to really ground me into reality, but he doesn't clip my wings. Right. So like, there's a very powerful piece to that. Like, he's not saying no. He's like, okay, so the decision we made recently was we were due to move to Australia in July. Now, that would have been for us, we can do it, but it would have been a stretch financially. It would have put us probably to zero in terms of savings and resources and our lifestyle. That one thing he said to me, he's like, B, I don't think you realize how much your lifestyle will change once you get to Australia. Like, you can't go for 3 massages a week and go like, get your net. Like, it's just probably not feasible considering we're going to be paying double for a house and we're going to be paying tax and we're going to be all these things. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, so I think what you want to look at, depending on, your priorities, is it more feasible for us to be here in Bali and start investing in things? Because we can, if we're in Bali, you can have a baby sooner. That's what you want. And then it might not be Australia that we want. I think what it is that we have a base and we have a few rental properties, and then we can go to England in the summer for 3 months because somebody's living in our rental property, and we can just get an Airbnb, or we can go to Portugal and we can start looking at where we want to be. And then in 3 years, my plan is that I've quit my job and I've got my business. So then we can do whatever the hell we want. And it's these situations that we've started to have these conversations about where I'm able to, and I think you get this with emotional authority. I go skyrocket. This is what it could look like. Wow. But then I'll make all these decisions, but I'm not grounded in them. And so he's really helping me like ride the wave. And I found myself really starting to look to him as that leading anchor point.
mm,
Before, I was kind of like, don't tell me what to do. I've got myself this far through possibility. Yeah. Also, I've burned myself quite a few times with rushing ahead.
yeah.
And so it's just these kind of conversations where we're looking at our vision together of like, where can we be on your side, on my side, if we do these things? And that shifted massively since we've
Yeah. And that's the
said,
thing, having those kinds of conversations with that level of awareness, it doesn't strip you of the possibility.
yeah,
It's you, because like our view is all about what we're here to see, right? It's how we perceive the world through what colored glasses. And so again, for you, it's like if you started seeing things from a probability standpoint, if you started being more like, yeah, it's not going to work because of this, and no, I don't really see that being, that's when you know that you're in trouble. But I think being able to, and again, opposite for him, if he started getting all kind of like willy-nilly and looking at this like dreamy endless possibility without anchoring into reality, then you would have trouble. But these sort of conversations, it's like it's the perfect balance, because you take your possibility and he gets to ground it into, okay, but like, how do we make this work, and what's probable of this, and on what timeline? Because maybe it's not that like what you're seeing and dreaming about is impossible, but maybe it's the timeline in which you might have gotten there that's not realistic. So how about we bring in some practicality here and map this out, and you still get to keep your possibility, but we have a better chance of getting there.
yeah.
That's
Which,
teamwork, baby.
yeah, absolutely. It's like the perfect teamwork. And I think where Ben has always kind of like said to me, and I fought against it until recently, is like, I'm really not trying to like piss on your fire. I'm really trying to give you the way to do it, because all you
Mhm.
see is the end goal. And I know that, like, that's been my business, for the past how many years. I'm like, I want to be there. And all it's got me is like you know, of course, like it's got me a lot of things, but it also has taken away from me allowing myself to enjoy the process, which I think right now, and I think Saturn return and stuff has definitely got a bit of an impact on this because I've matured a lot in terms of where I'm at and enjoying and the long game and the sustainable like element of things. But sometimes being in possibility always, like you don't give yourself the option to grow real roots. You're always uprooting things because you see the next thing that you want, and then it's just like, wow. And it's really dysregulating to be in that sometimes versus
Mm,
what Ben's doing is he's able to come in and be like, okay, this is how we can get there. And I still get there in the same amount of time.
mm,
But no,
totally.
it's just this, yeah, just this layer of we're a unit. And we always have been, but it's just this like more strengthened unit. And I don't know whether from a man's side, well, obviously from a man's side, like he sent me the video of he did like a little unboxing video. And towards the end, he gets quite emotional where he's like, I never thought I'd be here. You know, I actually thought like it wasn't on the cards for me. And I'll send it you later because it's cute. I never thought it was on the cards for me. And like, this is a big thing. And just seeing that in him, like, I don't see it as much of a big thing because I've wanted it for so long. But for a man, you know, for the hunter in the man and like the primal side of a man who's here to like mate and breed, like to find that woman and choose that woman, it's not like a thing that is taken lightly. Sometimes it's like, oh, just propose. But I think a lot of what goes on in a man's brain of like, I'm committing to this woman and like that provider element.
Yeah. And I think
I
for a
really,
man as well, there's this inherent like duty. So proposing is also saying and proclaiming, I can take care of you. And so for a man, they have to feel really solid in where they're at or where they're going to be able to make that sort of commitment. And again, as women, we don't really see that because we just more so maybe see the energetic of it of like, you're committing to me and all of these things. And of course, we have these expectations of how they might support us in whatever way. But I think it's very like noble, and it's not something that should be taken lightly from a man's perspective, and I respect them for taking their time if they need to for the right reasons.
yeah, totally. But yeah, it's been really special. And even just seeing how much was poured into the ring, just how much he knows me. I just cannot with how I just keep having this thought, and this is something that actually came through with friendships too, of like, I'm so loved. And this is a deeper rooted kind of thing where sometimes I have this like rejection thing of people don't like me and whatever. And I'm like, this man really, truly loves me. And I literally cannot even doubt that. And now, like, to see how much effort and the ring and like all the diamonds Brooklyn sent, it was like we went through hundreds. And I'm like, nope, not the one, not the one, not the one. That's the one. That's her diamond. You know, I'm like, oh my God, he's special.
So special. Well, you deserve it, and I'm so happy for you both.
Thank you.
And I think everyone on this podcast is going to be very happy too because that was our number one episode of the year. You and Ben's.
And I was like, honestly, you need to get online in some way because people, yeah, he's got that. It's the 6'2", man. I feel like
Yeah.
6'2's.
Yeah. There's just this kind of like I don't give a fuck energy, but also like I know shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
And he's
seen
that's
some
what
things.
I've seen some things and I've been some places. And that is it for Ben. He really, really has. We were in bed the other night and he was telling me about like when he was in the military and and again, this is like what I said with the sixes. They've lived some lives. Like Ben has had whole lives before he even met me. And it's crazy to fathom. And again, I think this is where when we're in the moment and we're like, I want to be there, like you're never going to have this segment of time back and it only becomes a blip in your memory. So like be in it right now. Be in because one day, you know, let's say you're in a bit of a struggle right now and you want to be somewhere where maybe you have more resources or you have more like stability. You look back and be like, remember when we had that? And it'll just be a blip. So like, yeah, of course you don't want to be in the struggle right now, but like just take a moment to be like, okay, I'm in my origin story. Like there's always so much to like anchor into in every moment. And I keep having this with babies as well. Like, I just want to be a mom. I just want to be a mom. And one thing my friend said to me, who's just had a baby, she was like, please enjoy your time right now, because I promise you will literally never get you and Ben alone again. And when that goes away, yeah, of course, your kids will leave and they'll grow
Yeah.
up, but you'll still never have that same, there'll always be a tab open for another human. So right now, just like enjoy. Stop looking to like when I'm pregnant. Just look at, I'm not pregnant right now and I
Yeah.
will be, and like let me
Yeah.
enjoy
And it's
it.
like you're on your way to being pregnant. You're
Yeah.
almost pregnant.
Like it's becoming
Actually,
a
you wanna
kid.
know what's hilarious? I recently started going through the airport and denying going through the X-ray scanners because just health perspective, it's horrible. You're just getting, like, fried every time, and it's horrible.
So interesting. How do you just tell them I
Well, in theory, you should just be able to opt down and say, "I want a pat down." But both airports that I tried it in said you had to have a reason. Those reasons either are you have a pacemaker or you're pregnant. And I said, "Okay, I'm pregnant." But then as I was saying that, I was like, I'm a little bit afraid because, like, words are spells.
said that with so much.
And yeah, like, I'm pregnant. So yeah, that made me a little bit nervous, but I'm going to keep doing it.
That's a really good idea, actually, because it's just easy. They can't say, no, you're not, can
No,
they? They can't say, give me proof.
no. And they just pat you down.
I mean, which is how we've always done it, except from when we had the
Yeah,
X-ray scanners. So
yeah.
I might start doing that as well. That's a really good
I
shout
recommend
because
it.
it's not very nice, especially if you're traveling a lot. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. And I think this is just being on the journey. And I think it can be so hard sometimes when we're in that. It feels like I'm just in it and it's not moving, it's not changing. And then it does.
It always does. That's the one isn't that funny? Like, that's the one guarantee things will change. And yet we're so afraid of not changing or not like be staying stuck somewhere. So then we just have to ask ourselves, like, what am I doing to resist? Like, what am I subconsciously doing that's actually fighting against the change that I desire? And that goes back to like taking your attention back, taking your awareness back, decluttering, looking at your life, like cutting out the things that aren't working, changing the relationships that are no longer feeling good. But change is inevitable.
But I'm excited for, I hope next year is what it's saying it's going to be, because I'm ready for
Mm-hmm.
that. I feel like
Yeah.
this year's, but I mean, we've got 2027.
Less.
But I mean, I feel it all. Like I feel so many shifts, especially in the online space. Like I'm really seeing those shifts happen. Yeah.
And I'll be seeing you in February, most likely.
We have to
Maybe
like
we can
tee
do
up
our first ever in person podcast.
as if. Yeah, I was gonna say we need to tee up like a proper
Yeah.
little space. Like we'll get a space going.
Yeah.
Is it
Well,
confirmed that you're coming in Feb?
I'm gonna look at flights tomorrow. It's like energetically 95% there. And again, I'm really happy with it because it feels like a really aligned decision in all ways, shape, and form.
It'll be
And
so nice.
yeah,
It'll be so nice for you to cut. How long has it been since you were here? 2 years.
it'll be 2.5 almost. Cause I think, yeah,
Wow.
I left, yeah, almost 2.5. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, that's insane. And this is also like time is flying. You know, it's a year's
Yeah.
nothing anymore. I'm starting to be like, whoa, actually a month, a
Yeah.
year. Like it's literally the 10th of
Yeah.
December already. What? Um, but it's gonna be beautiful for you to come back and like see the places you were as a completely different person.
Yeah. And the good thing is, it's like, I know I'm not going back to the place that I left at the same time. Like, I know what's happened in Bali and I'm not staying in Bali either. Like, I'll come have a few days, spend time with you, do some things like that. But then I'm going out, to outer islands because I want to go. I want to surf. I know what my priorities are. And Bali will be a nice in between. I'll get my nice muka facial and delicious coffees and matchas and things. But
Yeah. And then it'll be like, cool, peace out again. But also beautiful because I know that when you first left, there was a lot of resistance of like, I don't like it, like I'm not going back. And to be able to come back and be like, cool, thank you for
yeah,
everything. And
yeah.
also I'm just gonna like be on holiday now. Yeah.
All right, my darling. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day. Best of luck with your parasite. And I mean, you fought all the ones before. You'll fight them again.
It's like Bali life.
and I will speak to you soon.
Speak soon.